Very scary podcast.
Very scary podcast. Very scary podcast.
Hello everyone. We're going to do something a little bit different tonight. Usually we bring you Very Scary Podcast, but we're going to bring you Very Scary Movie Review. Now, my co-hosts are not very fond of being in front of the camera, and that's perfectly fine. So, I'm going solo tonight, and that's perfectly fine for me. Now, since this is the first movie review in front of the camera, just me, I didn't really know what movie to pick. So, I picked something a little different, like my channel. My channel is used to be solely on horror, but within the last couple months, I've been trying to bring you a little bit of variety. And this is what this movie is tonight, a little bit of variety. Now, hear me out. Don't freak out. The movie is called Warm Bodies. It is in the genre of comedy, romance, and horror. I think that's pretty amazing. I think it's a great start for a movie review. So, let's crack our knuckles. I've got a drink. I've got some gummies. I got a blanket. I got the movie playing in the background. Let's chill and let's do this. You guys ready? Kind of threw me off there. Gotta get my notes because there's a lot of things that I can't remember at all. Who am I? Who are you? What are we doing? But this movie, there we go. This movie came out February 1st, 2013. I'm going to be honest with you, I feel relatively guilty about this. I remember when the trailer came out, and I watched it, and I was thinking, man, this is going to be pretty interesting. I guess the movie came out. I never thought nothing about it, went on about my business. And now it's 2020, and I just now watched it. I watched it on Amazon Prime. It wasn't, I had to pay for it. It wasn't free. And that was fine with me, because I actually am glad I bought this movie. I really enjoyed it. It's an hour and 38-minute film. It's a little short, but I'm glad it's not too long because, like I said, this is not your stereotypical horror film. And so I really don't want to stretch on for 2-3 hours. I like that it was to the point on time. Rotten Tomatoes gave it at 81%. I think that's pretty awesome. IMDb gave it 6.9 out of 10. I'm not really overly fond of Metacritic and IMDb, but that's just my personal opinion. A lot of people really hold a lot of faith in that. Metacritic gave it 60%. My rating is out of 10, and I'm not going to tell you till the end of the film. I know, I'm sorry. You have to wait for it. Trying to think. The main actors are Nicholas Holt, who plays R, Teresa Palmer, who is Julie, and John Malkavich is her dad. Right off the bat, I'm going to tell you this movie is different in the sense that it is from the perspective of the zombie, not the humans. And oh my goodness, I like that. Because I don't know how you guys feel about Walking Dead. I have a love-hate relationship with it. I love it. I hate it. I binge it. I ward it off like it's a demon or a vampire. I have a love-hate relationship. So I'm actually kind of glad the perspective of this is from the zombie. With that being said, I'm going to also go in to tell you that I'm probably going to spoil the movie. There's going to be like pieces of the movie that I might give too much away. Then I might be a little vague on other things. And I might even give away the movie ending. So if you haven't seen this movie by now, just be warned. There's probably going to be spoilers in this. So, spoiler alert. Possibly. It being told in the perspective of the zombie, I actually was really shocked. I mean, the movie started out, and in the first 5 minutes, it starts off with him shuffling through an airport, talking in his head. So the narrative is his dialogue in his head. And he's shuffling, he's like, he's dead, she's dead, that person's definitely dead. And then it kind of goes into, like, I'm not really sure how this apocalypse happened. It could have been like an outbreak from a monkey. Could have been germ warfare. So there's no backdrop. It just happened. I like that. That doesn't bother me. I don't have to have a specific reason why there are zombies walking around. He's like telling himself like, I really need to eat better. I really need to, work out. I need to do this. I need to do that. And, you just kind of sit there like, he's a zombie. It gets into like this one specific thing within the first 3 minutes of the film that had me sarcastically snickering. He's doing, like I said, he's shuffling through and there's zombies everywhere. And all of a sudden it kind of stops and you see him look around and it has went back in his mind to what it was before the zombie apocalypse. And he's like, it must have been nice back in the day when you could contact with people and talk. And as he's talking and saying like, touching people and talking to people and interacting with people and doing this, that, and the other, it's panning around the airport terminal and they're all on phones. This had me dying because the person I watched this film with was at this point on their phone playing a game. I always have my phone in my lap that's going off nonstop for, YouTube and stuff like that. And almost any adult that I'm around has their phone on. They're playing, they're playing games, they're texting, they're taking selfies, they're doing something. And so that right there I thought was kind of a nice touch. And this was back in 2013 where, we don't think about that until it's gone, the contact. And that's really, for me, I thought this was great for the film because with the COVID-19, we can't touch, we can't talk. I mean, it's got to have social distancing. And so we're really relying on our phones. And so I thought this was a kind of a good transition there. But anyway, kind of carrying on. He shuffles through the terminal and he's like, is this all this, going to be? And they break down the characters in the film from the humans and the zombies. And the zombies get broke up into 3 sections. You have your main character R and his best friend M, and there's a really great scene where they're sitting down next to each other and they're just kind of staring at each other and just making noises and they're having a complete conversation. And then it's so awkward, but it's hilarious because they're just like they know they have to say something, but and then what caught me was R looks over at M and says, hungry. And M looks at R and says, city. And then they're like, and kind of get up and start shuffling. And then people, I guess, other zombies who are hungry shuffle with them. I kind of like that. So them splitting up the zombies into these two who apparently can talk and have some type of dialogue. And apparently R's got a lot of stuff going on upstairs. Then you have there's the regular zombies that just shuffle around. And then you have a new thing that I've never seen before, and they're called bonies. The bonies, I guess, would be considered Skeletors. You can literally see their skeleton with maybe just a little bit of decayed flesh in some areas. And they're very quick. They're very... and they actually show at one point how you become... I guess a bonie is literally the last stop on the zombie train. You just rot into a bonie. And it shows this one zombie and it's just propped up against the wall and it just starts, just ripping its skin off. And you hear the main character don't pick at it. Leave it alone. And then he's like, this is what I have to look forward to. That at some point I'm going to turn into a bonie. And like I said, at this point the humans come in for just a little bit and you see them and how they're trying to regroup. These may be the last humans on Earth. They have no idea. There's no communication. They literally think they're the last. And so they're forming a team to go out to get some information and some, I think, from a lab. Don't quote me. I kind of don't remember everything about this film. And so you have the main character zombies who are shuffling to the city to get food, and the main character humans running to the city to get whatever they're going to get done. So we all already know that they're going to meet up. This is how the story's going to work. And so the humans are in there and they're getting their stuff, and all of a sudden the main character zombie busts through the door, and it just turns into a crap fest. I'm trying to figure out how these zombies, they just took out everybody. Now, R attacks one of the humans, and this is where, like, I know that zombies do eat brains, but I know it's been addressed probably in other zombie films. But I'm kind of just a Romero zombie lover. I'm just go ahead and say this. I love zombie films. My very first zombie film would have to be the very first one I ever seen was Night of the Living Dead with Tony Todd, directed by Tom Savini, and then it got me into it. I remember watching this, and I probably was a little too young to be watching it, but I watched it and loved it and grew up and ended up seeing Night of the Living Dead, the original. And then my favorite would be Dawn of the Dead. So I don't really remember if it was ever addressed in the Romero films that brains was a big deal. So I'm just going to go ahead and give that disclaimer. I love zombie films, but I'm more of a Romero zombie. So he brings it up like, it's great to eat a human, but the brains, like, we can't dream, we can't sleep, so you eat a human's brain, and this is the closest to feeling human and dreaming and living that I'll ever have. And so he just attacks this guy, busts, and like I said, the gore is not a lot in this film. It's very subtle, it's very more just normal. It's not like Walking Dead gore, it's not like gonna gross you out, and you're gonna be like... So he starts eating the brain, and at this point, the guy he's eating is the main human character, Julie's boyfriend. So he's eating this guy's brains, and he stops and looks up and sees Julie. And, it's like a love connection. Like, he is, infatuated by her and starts feeling. And, all the other humans are dying. Like, one girl climbs under a desk, and Julie is just, backing up, and she's running out of ammo and stuff like that. And so R comes up to her, and he puts his hand over her mouth, and he's like, shh, quiet, keep safe. And, he's going to protect her. And the other zombies start smelling her, so, she, I think, had stabbed him, or he had gotten stabbed, and he gets blood and wipes it on her. And now she smells like she just got turned. And he shuffles her back to his place at the airport. He literally lives in a plane, and he has collected items and has a record player that plays 80s music. And he gets her back there, and there's days where she has to stay, and he's keeping her safe, and there's a bond growing. Now, one thing I was expecting out of this film is probably what I would call the cliche. That he ate her boyfriend. And so the first thing you're thinking to yourself is, she's going to find out about it. So we're going to have the big awkward scene where she's going to find out about it. She's going to hate R, and she's going to leave him, and they're going to separate, and things are going to happen, and then they're going to come back together and fall in love. And so I was kind of preparing for that, because I hate to say it, a lot of times in films you kind of start seeing the cliche, so I'm already gearing up. As they're bonding, I'm already thinking what's going to happen later. But anyway, they bond, and she tries to escape, and he saves her. For the third time, he has saved her. And they finish bonding, and she's like, I really want to go home. And he's like, I get you home. And at this point, you're starting to see him change. His heart has started to beat. His skin is starting to not look so dead. He brings up that zombies can't dream. They don't sleep. And so they go on their adventure to get her back home. And of course, at this point, it's probably in the middle of the film now. And she's laying in bed, and sorry, dry throat. Dry throat. She's lying in bed, and he looks up at her, and he hands I need to go back a little bit. I'm sorry. She's laying in bed, and she's talking about her boyfriend and how they had been dating since high school and were madly in love, which we had already seen a little bit, because as R ate his brain, we got to see bits and pieces of his life. And she's he started changing. Now this is where it kind of hit me. They have a flashback, I guess, toward the beginning of the zombie apocalypse, and the boyfriend and her are out, and they have guns, and they're looking around And the guy stumbles upon his dad, who has now been turned into a zombie. And he's like, Dad? Dad? And of course, it's not his dad anymore. And they run. These zombies run. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. 90% of the time, we always see zombies. They shuffle. They walk. You pretty much know that unless you're in a horde and you're a complete idiot, you're going to get away from these zombies. Whereas running zombies is almost like a giant F you at this point. Because you know if they can run, if you're not good at running, I'm dead. I'm now going to be this zombie's dinner. So like my heart palpitates every time I think of a running zombie. Because I can run pretty good. But anyway. So that it kind of breaks into that, showing you that there's a lot of zombies that can run when they want to. Especially in the beginning when they first get turned. And she's going over and she's talking to him about her boyfriend and such. And R pulls out the boyfriend's watch. And she's like holding it and tearing up. And she's like, I think I kind of knew from the beginning that you ate him. Or something like that. I can't copy the exact wording. But I kind of always knew. Now, this is where I guess I could get a little nitpicky, is if she kind of knew from the beginning that R probably ate her boyfriend, but still stayed with him, bonded with him, you can tell that he fell in love with her and she's falling in love with him. This is where I guess I get a little nitpicky in the film and say, what does it matter that you're fixing to get hurt that he ate your boyfriend and you kind of already knew it? Now, I guess you could get into it with, like, for example, I've been in places where I knew the significant other had done something. Like, I just had that feeling that they had done something that was going to hurt me. Whether it was cheat on me or was cheating on me with somebody on the internet. Just, like, I kind of knew it. But the difference is I didn't keep going with the relationship. I kind of felt it, acted differently. And I guess the other person realized that I was either had caught on or knew about it and immediately jumped in and was like, told me, and the relationship was over with or pretty much ended. So I guess that's where I kind of get into this subject. If she kind of already knew and then just kind of kept going along with it, why act so, anyway. Just going to go on, because like I said, this is kind of a nitpick. It doesn't ruin the film. It just kind of makes me go, if it didn't bother you up until now, then anyway. Well, she rolls over and you can hear her softly crying, and you hear Art apologizing to her. I'm so sorry, Julie. So sorry. Now, again, remember, they don't sleep. They don't dream. And at this point, he closes his eyes and falls asleep and dreams. When he wakes up, Julie is gone. And, so here I'm preparing for the cliche. Here we go. She's found out. She is left now. Here we go. This is what I was expecting. Now, it did kind of go a little bit differently than I expected. Yes, she did leave, and she goes back to camp, and she's greeted with her family and her dad, who's kind of strict and hard because he's lost his wife to being a zombie. And she gets back in and she's talking to her friend about R. And now R is trying to get back. I'm going to split this in half. R is trying to get back to his zombie friend. And what I haven't covered is at some point back in the terminal, the airport terminal, M had seen R and Julie holding hands, and it kind of made him feel differently. Like his heart started to beat, trying to remember. Well, he started feeling differently. So now he's standing in the terminal. And I'm sorry. I can't sit still tonight. Probably because I'm tired. I'm sorry. He's sitting at the terminal. And there's like this picture on the wall of like a husband and wife holding hands. And he starts remembering that he was married. And that he had a child. And his heart starts to beat. And then because his heart starts to beat, he looks around at the other zombies and starts, kind of looking at them, and they look at him, and their heart starts to beat. So, like, it's starting to be, like, a cure. And I thought that was really interesting. So, R is trying to get back to M. And the people who are the zombies who are starting to feel and change, like R did, are looking for him. So they meet in the middle. But because all of these zombies are starting to feel, they're starting to actually revert back to being human, the bonies are confused and smelling them and think of them as humans. And is now chasing the zombies who are turning back human. So now we have another problem. We have the bonies who are now going to try to kill these zombies. So R and M meet in the middle, and they start having a conversation and trying to comfort each other. And, you know, R is hurt and M's trying to comfort him that Julie's gone. And then they're like, M's like, you know, the bonies, they're coming. They're coming, they're following us, and they're going to get us and the humans. So they've now got to get back to Julie. So R gets into the camp, I think underground. And at this point, this is where I don't know how I missed this in the film. Julie comes out onto the balcony, is sitting there, and R is at the bottom looking up at her. And it just out of nowhere, I like scared the person I was watching the film with. I like just screamed out, "Oh my gosh, Romeo and Juliet are Julie!" Ah. And of course, the other person just looks at me and goes, "Oh, okay, I get what you're getting at. Oh, okay." So, like, I don't know if that was supposed to be in the analogy, but that's what I took from it. And she's like, "You're not supposed to be here. They're going to kill you." And they get him upstairs and come up with this great idea that they're going to make him look human and take him to her dad, who hates zombies, shoots any zombie on sight without even questioning, and tell him that they're changing. Which, of course, we all know that it's not going to work that way. They make him look human, and right off the bat, like, John Malkavich is like, and like planning on shooting him. Well, Julie and R get away because they like the bonies are coming, the zombies are coming, the humans are freaking out because basically the horde is much bigger than they can handle. Sorry, I have a cat. Well, my mom has a cat that's a little nuts, and I guess wants to join in this movie review. Sorry. But, so at this point, the humans are freaking out because they're fixing to be attacked by bonies, zombies, and they don't know that the zombies are good. So, like, this big scene breaks out. And this is where, I guess, where the big action starts taking place. The bonies are, like, trying to jump in and kill the humans. The zombies and bonies are fighting, and the humans come in and they're just like, and you hear like one of the humans go, "Who are we supposed to shoot?" And M throws a bony at him, "This one!" And so they start, like, at this point they're like, "We're just gonna go with it." And so the movie goes on, they're fighting, trying to get rid of the bonies. Julie and R have run away, and they're caught like by a bunch of bonies, and they're literally standing on the edge of like this opening, and she's like, "There's nowhere to go," and he's like, "Keep you safe," and he like wraps his arms around her and just dives off, and he makes it to where he falls in, like, there's this big fountain. He falls first, whacks his head. Now, of course, at this point I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know how many more minutes of this film is left. But if he gets amnesia and loses all of this, and we have to start over kind of real quickly, this is gonna ruin the film. But anyway, they jump off, and the humans kill all the humans and zombies kill all the bonies. They fall into the fountain. He bumps his head. She's fine. He comes up and like, oh, they're comforting each other. But John Malkavich comes up with like more humans. And he's like, he's not having this. That's a zombie. It's gonna get shot in the head. And she's trying to protect him, and R gets shot in the shoulder. Now, as soon as he gets shot in the shoulder, like, my light bulb's going off. I don't know if your light bulb is going off, but she's like trying to convince her dad that they're turning human, they're reverting. And by that time, he reaches up to touch his gunshot, and he pulls away, and he's like, "Julie." And there's blood Like, that means he's literally is reverting back to being human. And you see, like, things are going to change and everything like that. And so, I'm trying to remember the end of the film. I'm not really good with when films end. I somehow seem to forget what is going on. Just give me a second, because I got the movie playing in the background. I, of course, have to watch playing this, because if the camera picks it up, I might I get flagged. I got flagged the other day with one of my vlogs. I had to literally take it down because I had a song playing in the background. Say hi to my cat. Or my mom's cat. Crap. Sorry guys, just hold on. Like I said, bear with me. I was too busy watching the cat instead of paying attention to what I was doing. But it gets toward the end of the film, and at this point, R has become human, and which means all the other zombies are going to become human. And at the end of the film, you see, like, he's, like, all the zombies and humans are trying to coexist together. Which I guess you can't call them zombies anymore. They're human now. And you see, like, he's trying to open an umbrella and it's pouring down rain. And this girl stops and she's like, do you need help? And he's like, zombie fingers. And she opens it up, and then he, like, follows her holding the umbrella over her head. And I thought this was kind of funny. She's like, thank you. And they're saying each other's name. You find out M is Marcus. And, you know, she says her name. And he's like, you're very beautiful. And she's like, thank you. And he's like, you're supposed to tell me I'm beautiful. And I thought that was funny. And it cuts to the end, and you see R and Julie together. And Julie's like, do you not remember your name? And she's like, is it the fact that you can't remember it, or you don't want to remember it and you want to start over? And he's like, I don't want to remember it. I just want this life. And I like how it ends. It ends very, very subtle. It ends with that they're together, that zombies are going to be humans, and so forth and so on. So that's pretty much the movie in a nutshell. I probably didn't explain it as well as the movie is. I don't think I can explain it and do it justice. It had so many moments that made me laugh. It had so many moments where I was just like, that's different. It had so many moments where it was not something I've seen before. I like the fact that it's a comedy / romance / horror. So there's just enough laughs. There's just enough horror element. And there's just enough romance. One thing I'd say is the person I watched the film with got, I guess, what I would say nitpicky. And said along the lines that the zombies all just look like people who had just died. Which a lot of these zombies probably have been dead for quite a while, because there's bonies. Really nitpicky at the fact that the zombies, like, you can really tell that they're still human. Like, there's, like, what the actors look like. And, like he said, it almost looks like, well, because they're attractive, or, like, for example, R is attractive, that they basically just painted him pale, gave him brighter blue eyes, and had veins. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. When I first seen R in this film, I had to double take, because, like, this came out in 2013. He literally looked to me like the lead singer from My Chemical Romance. So, like, I had to double take a couple times, like, you know. So that was, like, kind of the nitpicky thing for him. It was, like, that they look attractive still. That really didn't bother me, which I guess it shouldn't bother me. They still look good. But that was some, like, the nitpicking. He kind of delved into the fact that, you know, the comedy, the fact that they're attractive, there wasn't gore. For him, he said it felt like it was stereotypical. So that was kind of the nitpicking from his perspective. My perspective is, like I said, I went to this film knowing that it wasn't a horror film. I knew that it was comedy and romance. You get a slight feeling like they're young, like maybe early 20s, late teens. So this is not like, you know, 30-year-olds. or really young kids. This is probably somewhere in the genre of like college, like beginning to go to college type of students, or people. So like I said, for me, them not being like the gore was not an issue. I didn't need the gore. I just wanted I wanted a good film. I thought the plot was very, I thought the plot was good. I'm trying to think. It was probably like somebody who's nitpicking, like the person I watched the film with was very nitpicky and was like, to me, the plot was like subpar. I don't know if it was subpar, but like I said, again, it's like a comedy / romance / horror. So I'm like, again, I don't really know what I was expecting when I went into this film, other than I wanted a good film. And that's really what I ended up getting, was a good film. It was very interesting. It did keep my attention. I didn't find myself on my phone like almost 95% of the time. Like, that's the thing that hits me with movies. If I'm on my phone or trying to do anything else but watch the film, then it's become like background noise. It's just a filler to have some noise in the background. If I'm watching a film that's just a filler or noise in the background, then I'm done. There's no sense anymore. So this is not how this film was for me. It was not a background. It was not filler. I really did enjoy this film. I did find myself laughing. I did feel invested in the characters. I was interested in the love connection between the zombie and the human, which was R and Julie. I thought it was a nice spin that the zombies could be cured, but not like your typical, like, oh, they're going to get a shot, or this person's blood over here can cure people. We got to mass produce it now. It was just more of along the lines of, I guess the way you could take from it, and I guess having to do with like this coronavirus, like we have to stay away from each other. We have to keep our distance. We can't hardly be around people. And I think that was kind of maybe what the movie was trying to get across, that we spend so much time busy with our day-to-day lives with our phones. Because I don't know about you guys, I have friends that are like, oh, I've been meaning to text you or call you, but I've just been too busy. You know, I get busy too. I have a family, I have a life, I have a job, but I still find time to talk to people that are important. So when you have people constantly saying like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm busy. Sorry, I thought about you, but I'm just too busy. That, I think, was maybe what this film was trying to convey subtly. And it's not going to be like in your face Romero point to the film. Like Romero's has always like a big point in the film, whether it's commercialism or this or that. This was very subtle, and I like that it was subtle, that maybe we don't even realize it, like right now in our day-to-day life, that we need human contact. We need people, that maybe things need to slow down and realize there's more to life than all the chaos and craziness until it's taken away. And then when it's taken away and you can't reach out and touch people you love are dying, you can't get near them, then it hits that all those years that you could have had more time, putting down the phone, putting down the TV, so to speak, even, putting down social media. See what I'm saying? So I think that's kind of what I took from the film, is that this was actually kind of talking about life. But of course they did it with a way that you could have comedy, you had a romance, and you had some horror elements. So I'll go ahead and say that. I'm not going to say this movie is perfect, because I don't think I've ever sat down and watched a movie that I thought was 100% perfect. I really don't. And that's basically because, I mean, there's always going to be something you can nitpick or find fault with. For some people, they might find this movie just the standard film to watch, a standard plot, a standard script, or whatever you want to say. For me, like I said, when I went into this film, it was different. I was looking for different, and I was pleased by it. It was entertaining. I found that I was in the film, I would say at least 98% of the time. Of course, I had to go to the bathroom and get a snack a couple times, because I'm just like that in a film. And I did check my phone, because my phone goes off more than 10 times I'm going to check it. But for 95% of the film, I just found myself just, like, I found it a chore to have to grab my phone and get into. Like, you're bugging me, phone. So, I'm going to go ahead and give my critique. Well, I've been giving my critique. I'm going to give this film an 8 out of 10. And that some people may think that's a little high. I don't, because there's so much about the film that I can't like because right now it's playing in the background. I'm seeing things I missed during the review. There's so many things about the film that when you sit down and watch it again, you're like, oh. I'm like, there were so many things about the film that I found interesting, that was different, that I myself had not seen in other films. I also like there was like points where when the zombies are shuffling through the city to go get food, they're walking by a newspaper in a newspaper stand, and it says like the end, and it kind of felt like they were giving, like, kind of paying respect to horror films of the past without getting campy or going into it like them. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know if you would like it. I would advise to watch it. Now, if you're going in for straight up horror, then you're not going to like this. But like I said, I would watch the trailer. You can watch the trailer on YouTube. And if you don't want to watch it on YouTube, you can go to Amazon Prime. They have the trailer that you can look at the movie before you buy it. Or rent it. You can even rent it for, I think, $3 on Amazon as well. So having said that, I enjoyed the film. In fact, I think after I get done here, I'm going to unmute this and watch it again. Because it's funny. It's serious. It doesn't take itself too seriously. It's not a ton of gore. It's just basically a zombie film that you can sit down, and I'm not gonna be grossed out. I'm gonna laugh a little bit. I'm gonna take it. I got into it where I'm like literally invested. Like, I don't want these characters to die. Now the boyfriend, when he dies in the first 15 minutes of the film, I was kind of like, eh. And I felt kind of bad. I was like, don't care. Just get me back to R and Julie. Well, R especially, because I was already invested in R from the beginning of the film, because that's the first character we see. And there's a charisma about R. He may be a zombie, but he's thinking. I'm hearing what he's thinking about. I've always kind of wondered what zombies are about. I just kind of always went with the fact that zombies eat people. That's all they're thinking about, is just killing and eating. Because that's what we've always been taught. Like with Romero, is the dead get up. The dead will kill. And then the dead will rise and all that stuff. So there was no really thought process to a zombie. And in this movie, there is. He's thinking. He's reacting. There's thoughts like, don't be weird. And he falls in love with this girl the first time he sees her. And I was already invested in him. So like the whole time I'm invested in him. I don't want him to get shot. I don't want him to get hurt. I don't want him to die. I'm excited that he's going, at some point when he starts turning human, then Julie starts loving him. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys this. I would recommend to watch this film. I would pick it, sit down and watch it, enjoy it, and just chill. It's a movie. It's like one of those movies you can watch and just chill. So I hope that's helpful. I hope you found this interesting. And I don't know. I don't know what else to say. I mean, I could go into this movie for another 10 minutes telling you how much I like it and why I liked it. It's really up to interpretation. I mean, some people don't just like a movie where you just turn it on and chill. Like the person I watched the film with, he was more into watching a movie and having to think, and a thought process and thought-provoking. Sometimes I do like to watch films that have a thought process and make me think and make me question and get me into the story that way. But I'm going to say, guys, there's a lot of times that I just want to turn on a film and just enjoy a film. I don't want to think about the plot. I don't want to think about the thought process or this or that. I'm not looking for an amazing score or amazing script or anything like that. I just want to sit down and just for once enjoy a film. And see, I've kind of missed that. Like when I was younger, I would watch films to just enjoy a film. And then I would say in college, I got a little bit more into, films and stuff like that. And then later I was around, I was around a person a lot that just critiques every single movie to a degree that ruins a film. And that's hard for me. I love films. I don't want to sit next to somebody that's like nitpicking every single thing, and every movie we watch is literally a hate fest. It ruins it for me. So for me, this film is sit back, chill. I'm not thinking, turning my brain off. Well, I'm not turning my brain off. That is the wrong description. I'm turning off the world, and I'm sitting back, and I'm just going to enjoy. So that is what I want you to do. If you haven't seen this film, I want you to go see it. I want you to sit down, sit back, turn the movie on, and chill. If you have seen it, leave comments below and tell me what you think about it. And if you go see it, and like, for example, you're watching this review and you decide that you're going to go watch it, I want you to come back and leave comments of what you thought. Because I'm really interested. Like, when I do these movie reviews, I really would like to hear if you've seen it, what you thought about it. Or go see it. Like, I went to see it because she made me want to see it. And then come back and tell me what you think. So, I'm going to cut this off right here. I don't want to do like 2-3 hours of just me going on and on about watching it, why you should watch it, or whatever. So, I'm going to say this. I hope you guys are having a very scary afternoon, day, whatever time it is. For me, it's 2 in the morning. So, I hope you're having a very scary time. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.